Good morning, everybody. I am I am not Deborah Gray Boyd. She could not be here this morning, but I'm Sue Farnlocker. My pronouns are she, her, and they, and I'm happy to serve on the Board of Trustees. I'm a fairly tall, white, 75-year-old woman with glasses and varying shades of red hair. Our speakers provide visual descriptions to welcome people with visual impairments and those listening online. Thank you for joining us this morning, this cold morning. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones. I guess we've gone back to that announcement. Scan the QR code to check in. That's up there or on your order of worship, I think. Thank you. Access our donation page or view the order of service. Visitors in person are invited to pick up a first-time visitor's gift out in the gallery and join us in Beach Hall, which is down here and to the left. After the service, learn more about our congregation. I should be back there parked somewhere, so if you want to talk to me, I'll tell you all I know. Whether you are brand new here or you've been attending since the Unitarians and Universalists consolidated in 1961, everyone is welcome to come chat in Fellowship Hall. There's coffee and tea, I think. Yes. Good, thank you. Well, you never know, we run on volunteers, and if there's no volunteers in town to do it, it just doesn't get done. All those who are grieving or feeling blue this holiday season are invited to attend the Sorrow at This Season service, December 4th, here at 7 p.m. Reverend Teresa and Reverend Marco Bellatini are hosting the First Friday Spaghetti Dinner this week at 6:30, December 6th. Sign up to bake cookies for the cookie fair that's on December 15th. Proceeds help fund the summer youth trips. Currently seeking youth group advisors, scout troop leaders, and paid sitters. Email Amber Scott, who you'll meet, there she is in the back of the worship service, a worship center, to learn more. The 9th annual Interfaith Prayer Gathering and Potluck is happening December 8th at 4 at Indianola Presbyterian Church. There's no time, 8 at 4 p.m. Yeah. Archives team would like to collect thoughts, feelings, hopes, and fears that have arisen since the November election in a new collective journal. Please give personal statements to Sylvia Howe. Sylvia, where are you? Well, she's not here. If she's, well, I don't know where she is. She might be watching online. For all these announcements and more, see your order of worship or this Friday news email for more detail. Thank you. Please rise in body or in spirit to sing 347, Gather the Spirit.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power, our separate fires will kindle one flame. It's the mystery of this hour, our rising this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in
Please be seated. Good morning. I'm Amber Scott, your Director of Religious Exploration, and my pronouns are she, they. I am a white, femme millennial with wild and wonderful wavy hair. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbus. Rachel Walden writes, Unitarian Universalist theology and values call us to confront false myths of Thanksgiving history and reimagine our traditions as we acknowledge historical and present-day truths of white supremacist theft, violence, and genocide. As we live into Thanksgiving traditions of gathering with friends and family and sharing a meal, we must also recognize this day as a national day of mourning for Indigenous peoples across North America. We gather here on the stolen land of the Adena, Hopewell, Wyandotte, Miami Seneca, and Cayuga peoples. Despite forced relocation in the 1830s, Indigenous people are still here and will always be here. These people and tribes have been stewards of this land since time immemorial. To acknowledge that we occupy their lands is only the first step of many we must take in order to repair and heal past and present trauma and oppression. Land acknowledgements are a symbolic reminder of what we must do and can become performative when we do not take action. Let us take a moment of silence together to reverently embody our respect for Indigenous people and cultures, and to imagine the next steps needed for healing and repair in this place that we also call home. Thank you. Radical Gratitude Spell by Adrienne Marie Brown. A spell to cast upon meeting a stranger, comrade, or friend working for social or environmental justice and liberation. You are a miracle walking. I greet you with wonder in a world which seeks to own your joy and your imagination. You have chosen to be free every day as a practice. I can never know the struggles you went through to get here, but I know you have swum upstream, and at times it has been lonely. I want you to know I honor the choices you made in solitude, and I honor the work you have done to belong. I honor your commitment to that which is larger than yourself and your journey, to love the particular container of life that is you. You are enough. Your work is enough. You are needed. Your work is sacred. You are here, and I am grateful. It is now time for our children to meet Gus in the back to prepare to bring in the light. Everyone else, please turn to your neighbors and introduce yourself. It is now time for our children to bring in the light. Thank you, Chase, for your help lighting our chalice this morning. El Molcajete de mi Abuelita by Reverend Julian Ninan Soto. My grandmother's grinding stone has gotten lost. It was gifted to a pastor. Once in his office, I saw that that was where he rested his Bible, the place where there was corn, fortifying nutrition. Surviving is made of the shadows of the grinding stone. It is made of all the forms of work of my grandmother's hands. The lace, the tortilla, the future of her 12 children, embroidered with love, painted with stubborn faith, hems of thousands of prayers. The grinding stone was lost, but the women, the great-grandmother and the grandmothers, remain forever. They are my grinding stones, of permanence, of knowing, becoming both myself and my community. Today is an all-ages service, which means that our community of many ages will be experiencing worship together. There are no children's classes today, but there is still infant and toddler care available in room 101. And families are invited to check out toys and quiet activities in the We Worship area or Solidor Lounge, or to grab a busy bag from out in the gallery, or simply to take a break from the service at any time. Today's story is called Fry Bread, a Native American family story. Presented from an Indigenous perspective, it's worth noting that I, as a white reader, cannot claim these words. Written by Kevin Noble Mallard, member of the Makuski Band of the Seminole Nation and Syracuse law professor, and illustrated by Peruvian-American Juana Martinez Neal. This book was inspired by the author's family. Fry bread is food, flour, salt, water, cornmeal, baking powder, perhaps milk, maybe sugar, all mixed together in a big bowl. Fry bread is shape. Hands mold the dough, flat like a pancake, round like a ball, or puffy like Nana's softest pillow. Fry bread is sound. The skillet clangs on the stove. The fire blazes from below. Drop the dough in the skillet. The bubbles sizzle and pop. Fry bread is color. Golden brown, tan or yellow, deep like coffee, sienna or earth, light like snow and cream, warm like rays of sun. Fry bread is flavor. See beans or soup, smell tacos, cheese, and vegetables, delight in honey and jam. Rise to discover what brings us together. Fry bread is time. On weekdays and holidays, supper or dinner, powwows and festivals, moments together with family and friends. Fry bread is art, sculpture, landscape, portrait, our daily craft, shared from teacher to student, a cycle of heritage and fortune. Fry bread is history, the long walk, the stolen land, strangers in our own world. With unknown food, we made new recipes from what we had. Fry bread is place. Alaska, Kansas, all the way to Maine, down to Delaware, on to Georgia, over to Oklahoma, Colorado, and California, cities and lands we call home. Fry bread is nation. Abenaki, Apache, Arapaho, Ojibwe, Onondaga, Oglala Sioux, Narragansett, Navajo, Nipmuc, Seminole, Shoshone, Sauk and Fox, and hundreds of other tribes. Fry bread is everything. Round, flat, large, small, north, south, east, west, brown, yellow, black, white, familiar and foreign, old and new, we come together. Fry bread is us. We are still here, elder and young, friend and neighbor. We strengthen each other to learn, change, and survive. Fry bread is you. The end. Today, as we examine the roles that food, togetherness, and tradition play in our lives, may we also consider how to widen the circle to include all our human relations. Please remain seated and join me in singing number 402, From You I Receive, twice through, as we sing our young people back to their families and back to their seats.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Jennifer Nichols, PhD, SPHR, PGMP, but I'm known around these parts as Devin's mom, and I am sure you're familiar with his work. I am a middle-aged, short woman with brown hair, and I'm some kind of blue top. I'm slightly colorblind, so I'll let you guess. In fact, when I first came to First UU on March 11th of 2012, I marked my calendar and I looked it up this weekend, I was known as Kenneth's mom. I had researched a lot of churches before coming to this one, but this is the one I actually chose to visit. At the time, I was looking for a safe space for my brand new kiddo, Kenneth, and a safe space for me to bring him. It was important to me that I find a place that supported marriage equality, trans rights, women's rights, really human rights in general, and my right to choose what I do with my body. At that time, we were not in a safe space at my house, and it was clear I was not going to have that fairy tale two-parent home. At UU, I think I found what I was looking for within my first visit. There were mainly non-traditional families, non-traditional parents, and lots of kiddos. We tried to watch the service from sitting back there, so that room where the blinds are used to be a room where we used to sit. But the room was small, the kids were loud, and there was way too much to talk about with the other parents. So I missed many wonderful sermons by Reverend Mark Bellantini, but in the process found a community that's given me so much. So what I got in return. I credit First UU and the First UU community here with providing me strength to do stuff, like be a single parent, be a foster parent, grow my family, adopt a child, sell a house, buy a different house, change careers, change jobs, survive the first Trump presidency. Search for some type of faith and may or may not find one and still be welcome here. Get through the pandemic, grieve the death of a parent, and everything else in between. And now it just feels good to say, I have a church to go to, or we have a church potluck, or we have some kind of church event. It feels good to say that. And it's a church where love and not dogma is the guiding principle of our faith. My limited income as a single parent and single income and limited donations do not come close to really, the return on investment is 100,000%. What I receive in return for the community here, I don't know if I'll be able to repay in time, tithe, or talent. But I've looked and have not found another church or community that so strongly reflects my values for myself and my family. So thank you all for being you and being you. Thanks.
During the month of December, our offering plate will benefit our congregation's ministerial discretionary fund. Each year, we ask you to help us extend care and generosity to the First UU members and friends who need it most. This fund helps individuals and families heat their homes through the cold winter months, puts food on the table when single parents suddenly find themselves out of work, and so much more. Helping others in their time of need makes this world a brighter, warmer place for everyone. Your gifts make this important ministry possible. In addition to passing the basket, you can text to give, scan the QR code, or visit firstucolumbus.org/donate. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, Nathan. Today's pastoral listener is Reverend Kathleen Fowler, and there is one caring card to sign in Beach Hall this morning. We are thinking of Doris Auersler, who lost her beloved dog Cruiser following many months of dementia. Our hearts are also with all the young Ohioans whose quality of life and safety will be negatively impacted by the bathroom bill that Governor DeWine signed this week, requiring K through 12 and college students to use bathrooms and locker rooms matching their sex assigned at birth rather than their gender identity. As we reflect on this news from our congregation and our larger community, let us honor the joys and sorrows that may yet be unspoken in a moment of meditation. Table Blessing by Reverend Victoria Safford. At my house at supper, we perform the most unholy and untidy little liturgy you can imagine, but usually I think it works. Other families I know conduct their affairs with more elegance and style, but elegance is not our strength. At our house, the table grace we do does not look like religion. It looks like a hungry, tattered family at the end of a tattered day, sometimes at the end of its rope. We scramble to find the matches, to clear and set the table, to dislodge the cats and scrape our chairs into place. We clatter in, then get up again to wash somebody's hands, and then finally sit down. We light the candles, reach for each other's hands, close our eyes, and sit in silence for as long as the youngest among us can stand it, which is generally up to as high as she can count. Then, on most nights, we sing something. Dona nobis pacem, jubilate Deo, shalom, the Mozart Alleluia, Old Hundredth, Over the River and Through the Woods. The wheels on the bus go round and round, taps. We try to be serious, but really, it does not matter what we sing. We are in a self-imposed time out. The smell of the food becomes real, the sound of our breath and the feel of our damp hands, still sticky. These are real. We are together, our circle invincible, in this one holy moment, and each of us is utterly alone in the dark solitude behind closed eyes. We are home, we have food. We recall that many don't, and sometimes someone says this in a blessing. And where we have been in the day and where we may go that night or tomorrow fades away for a time, and we are infused. Time is infused, and something wells up. Something like gratitude wells up, overflowing, nigh unto overwhelming. The whole thing lasts, from candle to song, about 2 minutes. But the echo, the wake of it, lasts longer. We are trying, all of us in all our houses, to be aware. We are trying to be quiet. We are trying to slow down. We are trying to remember our true and real life. We are trying to touch that, to call it up, trying to know we are alive, hoping to mold that, knowing into good work, hopeful, brave, and helpful later on. We are trying to remember what we love and what to do, and how to be ourselves good gifts. I invite you to remain seated and join me in singing number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts sits within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
All right. Now it's time to make some soup together. Thank you to everyone who dropped off vegetables before the service this morning to share. Christine Davidson is baking bread and cooking up soup in the kitchen right now for all of us to enjoy together after the service. I'm going to read Stone Soup by John J. Muth. This is the time when all of our young people, if you would like to get some ingredients and you haven't yet, you can go see Gus in the back again. We've got a big bowl of soup ingredients, and they all have to go in the pot. So kids first, but young at heart, welcome to throw something into the pot. There are some exotic vegetables in there, but everything has what it is written on the back. So if you're not sure what it is, ask an adult who can read, and they can hopefully help you. Three monks, Hawk, Lock, and Sue, traveled along on a mountain road. They talked about cat whiskers, the color of the sun, and giving. What makes one happy, Sue? Asked Hawk, the youngest monk. Old Sue, who was the wisest, said, "Let's find out." The sound of a bell brought their gaze to the rooftops of a village below. They could not see from so high above that the village had been through hard times. Famine, flood, and war had made the villagers weary and untrusting of strangers. They had even become suspicious of their neighbors. The villagers worked hard, but only for themselves. There was a farmer, a tea merchant, a scholar, a seamstress, a doctor, a carpenter, and many others, but they had little to do with one another. When the monks reached the foot of the mountain, the villagers disappeared into their houses. No one came to the gates to greet them, and when the people saw them enter the village, they closed their windows tight. The monks knocked on the door of the first house. There was no answer. Then the house went dark. They knocked on a second door, and the same thing happened. It happened again and again from one house to the next. These people do not know happiness, they all agreed. But today, said Sue, his face bright as the moon, we will show them how to make stone soup. They gathered twigs and branches and made a fire. They placed a small tin pot on top and filled it with water from the village well. A brave little girl who had been watching came to them. "What are you doing?" she asked. "We are gathering twigs," said Locke. "We are making a fire," said Hawk. "We are making stone soup, and we need 3 round, smooth stones," said Sue. The little girl helped the monks look around the courtyard until they found just the right ones. Then they put them into the water to cook. "These stones will make excellent soup," said Sue. "But this very small pot won't make much, I'm afraid." "My mother has a bigger pot," said the girl. The little girl ran home. As she started to take a pot, her mother asked what she was doing. "The 3 strangers are making soup from stones," she said. "They need our biggest pot." Said the girl's mother. "Stones are easy to come by. I'd like to learn how to do that." The monks poked the coals. As smoke drifted up, the neighbors peered out from their windows. The fire and the large pot in the middle of the village was a true curiosity. One by one, the people of the village came out to see just what this stone soup was. "I have some salt and pepper," said the scholar, his eyes big with curiosity. He disappeared and came back with salt and pepper and even a few other spices. "If you have the salt and pepper, come on up." Amazing. You want to put it in? Sue took a taste. "The last time we had soup stones of this size and color, carrots made the broth very sweet." "Carrots?" said a woman from the back. "I may have a few carrots, but just a few." And off she ran. She returned with as many carrots as she could carry and dropped them into the pot. "If you have carrots, come on up." Perfect. Thank you. "Do you think it would be better with onions?" asked Hawk. "Oh, yes. Maybe an onion would taste good," said a farmer, and he hurried off. He returned in a moment with 5 big onions, and he dropped them into the bubbling soup. "If you have onions, come up." "Now, that's a fine soup," he said. The villagers all nodded their heads, and the smell was very agreeable. "But if only we had some mushrooms," said Sue, rubbing his chin. Several villagers licked their lips. A few dashed away and returned with fresh mushrooms, noodles, pea pods, and cabbages. If you have mushrooms, noodles, pea pods, or cabbages, come on up. Oh, yeah, not yet. Something magical began to happen among the villagers. As each person opened their heart to give, the next person gave even more. And as this happened, the soup grew richer and smelled more delicious. I imagined the emperor would suggest we add dumplings, said one villager. And bean curd, said another. What about cloud ear and mung beans and yams, cried some others. And taro root and winter melon and baby corn, cried other villagers. Garlic, ginger root, soy sauce, lily buds. I have some, the people cried out, and off they ran, returning with all they could carry. If you have dumplings, bean curd, cloud ear, mung beans, yams, taro root, winter melon, baby corn, garlic, ginger root, soy sauce, or lily buds, come on up. The monks stirred and the pot bubbled. How good it smelled, how good it would taste, how giving the villagers had become. If there's any more lonely ingredients that didn't go in the soup, feel free to come put them in. At last, the soup was ready. Oh, I see one more ingredient. Thank you. The villagers gathered together. They brought rice and steamed buns. They brought lychee nuts and sweet cakes. They brought tea to drink, and they lit lanterns. Everyone sat down to eat. They had not been together for a feast like this for as long as anyone could remember. After the banquet, they told stories, sang songs, and celebrated long into the night. Then they unlocked their doors and took the monks into their homes and gave them very comfortable places to sleep. In the gentle spring morning, everyone gathered together near the willows to say farewell. Thank you for having us as your guests, said the monks. You have been most generous. Thank you, said the villagers. With the gifts you have given, we will always have plenty. You have shown us that sharing makes us all richer. And to think, said the monks, to be happy is as simple as making stone soup. The end. In the story, 3 clever monks teach a whole village about generosity, gratitude, and joy. Together, we can accomplish much more than we would be able to apart. In the Soup by Robert Walsh. My dictionary says the word minister is etymologically related to the word minestrone. I am not making this up. They are both derived from a Latin root that means to serve. The image of ministry as minestrone is particularly apt for the ministry church people do all together that makes us a ministering congregation. Each bean, each vegetable, each unit of macaroni or pinch of spice gives not only its substance to the soup, but also its spirit, its texture and color, its flavor and aroma. Each person offers a unique set of gifts, and if we do our job of organizing well, each gift will be creatively matched with a need so that the whole becomes a warm, nourishing, life-giving religious community. All who serve the church and the principles and values we hold dear are ministers. If you are doing part of that work, you are doing ministry, no matter how unlikely it may seem. You are in the soup, the minestrone of ministry. I invite you to rise as you are willing and able and join me in singing number 407, We're Gonna Sit at the Welcome Table. Please remain standing after the hymn. As you are willing, please join hands or otherwise connect with your neighbor as we extinguish our chalice together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of vision. As we go forth, let us heal and transform ourselves and our world through reason and love. Please join me in singing number 1010, Oh We Give Thanks. And I hope you will all join us for some hot soup and fresh baked bread after the service.